This beachfront Verbo is about to become part of an unforgettable vacation memory. The
Hello, welcome to satsang, everyone. Good morning, good evening. Hi. We will start today with a Sabbath by Anonymous. How will I cross the ocean of life? Then we have a talk by Michael and a talk by Tina Dillon. Topic is Japji Sahib. After that, we have 5 minutes of meditation and Master's YouTube talk. And then we have group meditation with love and devotion. Thank you so much. Let's start.
राधा स्वामी टू ऑल वाणी मीराबाई जी। नदिया गहरी नाव पुरानी किस विधि उतरू पार। नदिया गहरी नाव पुरानी किस विधि उतरू पार। मन माने जब तार प्रभु जी, मन माने जब तार प्रभु जी, मन माने जब तार। किस विध उतरूं पार। नदिया गहरी नाव पुरानी, किस विध उतरूं पार। वेद पुराण बखाने महिमा, वेद पुराण बखाने महिमा। लगे न गुण को पार, किस विध उतरूं पार। नदिया गहरी नाव पुरानी, किस विध उतरूं पार। योग याग जप तप नहीं जानो, योग याग जप तप नहीं जानो। नाम निरंतर सार, किस विध उतरूं पार। नदिया गहरी नाव पुरानी, किस विध उतरूं पार। बाट तकत हो कब की ठाड़ी, बाट तकत हो कब की ठाड़ी। त्रिभुवन पालनहार, किस विध उतरूं पार। मीरा के प्रभु गिरधर नागर, मीरा के प्रभु गिरधर नागर। चरण कमल बलिहार, किस विध उतरूं पार। नदिया गहरी नाव पुरानी, किस विध उतरूं पार। किस विध उतरूं पार। राधा स्वामी जी, थैंक यू फॉर द सेवा।
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our holy dance today, so we can fill our bags with the love of God and be happy and smile and forget about yesterday and only think of the present, enjoy the present, and try to imbibe more God, more love, and more intoxication, and just think of our future, what we shall become. We're all now students on the path of love to become saints. And what are saints? Saints mastered their mind, body, intellect. They became the masters of love. And that is what we are to become, the masters of love. On this path, We are students, and ultimately, the day will come, we will all graduate and become masters of love. What is a master of love? A master of love is someone who lives in love, walks in love, talks in love, and is in the ocean of love. The ocean of love is the ocean of life. And that is what the saints and master want us to be, to forever smile, to forever dance, and just to see that this whole creation, that we are the core of creation. Each one of us is the core of everything we see. We are the core of creation because God lives in us, and everything. And in this DVD, everything has been created for you. Everything has been created for you. There is nothing that you see that was not created by you. Everybody that comes your way, everything you see, the sun, the moon, the stars, all came out of God's hat just for you. So we are the core of creation. We are the center. Each one of us is the center of all creation. It's something beautiful to see that this whole creation was just created for us, and we are to enjoy it. We are to enjoy it, and we are to enjoy every moment, even when we go through ups and downs. Even when we go through ups and downs and we don't feel harmony, that is also perfect, because everything in God's arms is perfect. Even our desires in God's arms are perfect. Everything is perfect. Anonymous, your singing was so beautiful, and we appreciate it. Your God is your voice is so godly, and it was talking about crossing the ocean of life, and crossing the ocean of life comes with the help of love, with the help of the hand of love, with the help of the perfect ones that came in our life and that are dragging us to love, that are putting the hook of love on us, and that is the perfect saints and masters. So lucky we are to have met them. I'm so lucky to have met my master, Sant Singh and Ishwar Puri Ji. Baba Sawan Singh is inside of us, leading us to his throne, the kingdom of God. And in the Shabd, there's something that is so beautiful that was written, and it says, I do not believe in austerities and worship, only attraction in the holy name. And this is what also Saint Kabir taught, that austerities, tapas, yogas, all these things that yogis do, that they try to annihilate their desires through running away from the world, being reclusive in the world, and emancipating their body, putting their body in hard conditions to get rid of their attachments and their desires. And Saint Kabir, I would read to you because it was by godly coincidence that this Shabd was what I was reading in the morning. And Saint Kabir says, like these yogis and rishis and munis that do these austerities and emanciate their body, it's like burning the forest. He was saying, like burning the forest, and when the forest is burned, then greenery comes right back and life comes right back. So when they try to get rid of desires is like burning the forest, and then it comes right back. It's there. It never goes away. It can come at any moment. It can come at any moment and just is there. So all their trials is for no use. All their efforts that they put is of no use. However, the saints say that to sublimate the desires, it is not a forced thing. It's not a forced thing. It is the fire is distinguished with love and devotion, with the Nam. The Nam is the holy name, the attraction to the holy name, like the Shabd of Anonymous said, is what takes away the desires and the attachments of this world. That nothing else works except the grace of the Master. The grace of the Master in this perfect show, in this perfect holy dance, is what takes them away at the right time when it is His will. When it is His will, it will happen by His grace. So, this is what the saints path of moderation, that nothing is forced. Nothing is forced, and everything comes at the right time. And what is the most important thing is the attraction to the holy sound, the attraction to the holy name of God. And that takes care of everything. That takes care of everything, and it sets the ship on the right course towards God and the kingdom of God. As the tree of life, the tree of life, Saint Kabir says, the tree of life, its roots are cut. Its roots are cut. The tree of life is different than the regular tree because the tree of life, the roots are cut. That means he was saying that to cut the roots is like coming out of the body, coming out of the mind, and that is the tree of life. The tree of life is when we learn how to die. Learn how to die so you can begin to live. Learn to die so you can begin to live. And that's the tree of life. Its fruits, its nourishment, its nourishment comes from above. Its nourishment, and it grows fruits above the skies. And it gets its nourishment from the skies. That means man is like an inverted tree. He gets his nourishment from above. And that is what the masters and saints teach us, that when we connect to the holy light and sound, then it does everything for us. And we don't really need anything from this world. That the more we have trust in the holy light and the holy sound, the more we grow in it, the more it will do everything for us from A to Z. There are even people, there are even people in this world who just live on meditation. I mean, I have seen it on YouTube that people who live on just meditation and just on air, I forgot what they call them, Aryans, or they just their food, they don't need anything. They just look within. And that Buddha, did you see that a movie of that Buddha that sat under the tree for days and days and days and years, I think, and they had the camera on him, and he just was enjoying his inner self, that everything comes from within. And he did not even have a perfect master, but he was just doing regular meditation, which is even so powerful, and he was living without needing anything, and they put cameras on him. So there is something to it. I have seen many, many shows like that. That imagine the holy light and the holy sound. If we depend on it, the more we trust it, the more it will do for us. The more we depend on it, the more it will do. As my master Sant Singh says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else shall be added unto you. That if you seek God, then whatever you need from the world will be showered on you automatically. You don't have to ask for it. You don't have to work hard for it. It will just come. It will just come, and it will come. He sent us to this world so we can develop our spiritual self. And if he sent us here to develop, whoever invites you to his house, whoever invites you somewhere, has to take care of you. When we are guests in somebody's house, then whoever invited us, he will bring the food, and he will bring the water, and he will arrange the sleeping quarters. And the same thing, we have been invited to this world. We did not come on our own accord. Somebody has brought us here. Somebody has brought us here, and we are here. Whoever has brought us here has to take care of us. But the message was in our coming here, that use every breath, use every moment to grow spiritually, to find God, to nourish yourself, to grow more roots in God, to end your suffering, to learn how to die, so you can begin to live in the higher regions with God, in the kingdom of God. And that is the message that we all got. So, all what we have to do is focus on that, make that our priority, put that first, put God first, put the kingdom of God first, put the saints first, live in the words of the saints, and then everything else shall be added onto us. We don't have to work hard for it, it will come. It will come and it will come easy. I have tested it. I have tested it since I was initiated in 1997. I compared my life before and I compared my life after Santakar entered my life, and how all blessings, all grace came to me. And whatever I used to work for many, many hours before initiation, how my pocket was always empty and or barely had anything in it. And I remember when I went to Lighthouse Center, Oregon, the first time I went there to see some talker saying how I had just $25 left in my account. That's how it was. Like everything was not easy. Everything was not easy before Master entered my life. After Master entered my life, everything became easy. My pockets were full and overflowing. And that is by the grace of the Master. That if we do one work of the Master, He will do hundreds of works for us. And it is true that this path, we test everything. It is not a blind belief like religion, but it is a living, it's a living experimental path that everything the saints say, we can test it on daily basis and say really, and see really if it's working or not. And you will see, we will see all thousands of miracles happening. Day by day, we see miracles happening in our life, and day by day, we see Master's hand in everything, God's hand in everything we do. It's a perfect show. Let me read to you a poem about the perfect show from Hafiz. How it's a perfect. Where was it? It says, oh, that's the end of the poem. But yeah, I will read it. It was okay. I will read the whole poem, and then at the end of it is the perfect show that we're in God's arms. But yeah, it says, "Out of God's hat, the stars got poured into the sky out of a magician's hat last night, and all of them have fallen into my hair. Some have even tangled my eyelashes into luminous, playful knots. Wayfarer, you are welcome to cut a radiant tress. Wayfarer, you are welcome to cut a radiant tress that lays upon my shoulders. Wrap it around your trembling heart and body that craves divine comfort and warmth. Aren't we all just craving divine comfort and divine warmth? That's what satsang is. We come here for divine comfort and warmth. I am like a pitcher of milk in the hands of a mother who loves you. Wow, isn't that so beautiful? Hafiz is saying, God, I am a I am like a pitcher of milk in the hands of a mother who loves you. Wow, I love that. All my contents now have been churned into dancing suns and moons. Lean your sweet neck and mouth out of the dark nest where you hide. I will pour effulgence into your mind. Come spring, you can find me rolling in fields that are exploding in holy battles. Of scents, of sounds, everything is a brilliant colored nova of a stem. Forest animals hear me laughing, and I surrender their deepest instincts and fears. Wow. Everything. The spring, he's saying, is exploding with beauty of God. They came charging into meadows to lick my hands and face. This makes me so happy. I become so happy that my rising wing turns into a magic baton. When my soft eyed creatures see that wonderful signal, we all burst into singing like an orchestra. It's like the whole show of God is like an orchestra. And okay, where was I? Yeah. That my rising wing turns into a magic baton. When my soft-eyed creatures see the wonderful signal, we all burst into singing and make strange and primal beautiful sounds. My only regret in this world then becomes that your shyness keeps you from placing your starving body against God and seeing the beloved become so pleased with your courage that his belly begins to rock and roll, that his belly begins to rock and rock. Then more planets get to leap onto the welcome mat of existence, all because of your precious love. The friend has turned my verse into sacred pollen. Wow. God turned his verse, his poetry, into a sacred pollen. When a breeze comes by, falcons and butterflies and playful gangs of young angels, mounted on emerald spears, take flight from me like a great sandstorm that can blind you to all but the truth. Wow, that can blind you to all but the truth. Dear ones, even if you have no net to catch Venus, my music will circle this earth for hundreds of years and fall like resplendent debris, holy seed onto a fertile woman. For Hafiz wants to help you laugh at your every desire. For Hafiz wants to help you laugh at your every desire. Hafiz wants you to know your life within God's arms, your dance within God's arms is already perfect. Wow, everything we go through is perfect. Even if it doesn't feel perfect, it's all perfect. Even the days like yesterday when I didn't feel harmony, I didn't feel the harmony of God yesterday. Maybe I didn't drink a cup of love. I didn't feel the master flow. I had to ask Dr. Chan to intervene and come and help me. I did not drink a cup of love. That's what happens when we don't drink a cup of love. When we don't drink a cup of love, we become grumpy, our face wrinkles, we become, we fight. This is when love is absent. But when love is there, then the words flows, everything is happy, everything ecstatic, and the whole show is beautiful. The whole show is perfect, the way God made it. So everything is perfect. Everything is perfect, and everything has been created for us. There was a poem. Should I read that poem of Hafiz? Of Kabir. Um, there was a poem of Kabir that. Well, let me see, find it. Oh, okay. Um, I, he's saying that not to be evil to anybody, because Kabir never malign. Even the bit of straw that lies under your feet, someday it may fly up and land in your eye. The pain will remind you that nothing is worthless in this world. This is what I wanted to say. That everything has been created for a reason. Everything has been created for a reason. And my master Santakar Singh used to say that even a stone, small pebble that you walk and step on, that has been also put for a reason. That has also has a reason. It has its role in the divine show. In the divine show of God, everyone, everything has a role. All creatures and all matter, everything has a role and has been put for us, for us, for a reason. So everything has a reason. And this world is not a bed of roses. It's like a roller coaster. It's like a roller coaster. And Ishwar Puri Ji says that we have to be brave. We have to be brave and just on this roller coaster ride, enjoy it. Enjoy the downs when it goes down and enjoy when it goes up. Enjoy both. Try to enjoy both. Yesterday, when I was working, I felt that I was in hell. I felt that I was in the armpit of Chicago, where it's all unlit streets, darkness, abandoned factories, trains. I swear I felt like the whole time. And people driving like crazy, people driving like crazy. And that like had put me on my toes all the time. It was like a stressful time, but it's like a roller coaster. It has its own enjoyment. That part also, that part of the going down of the roller coaster also has an enjoyment in it. So we have to enjoy every moment, whether it's up or down, by God's grace. See it all as His holy dance. This is what I wanted to say today. And thank you, Master, for the seva. And we have our dear sister Tina doing the job G, and the job G is just like the core of spirituality, of the words of the saints and masters that has not been changed. A lot of religions have been changed. A lot of the words of the masters have been taken out, like in the Bible, the word about meditation, reincarnation, and meditation, reincarnation, and the vegetarian diet has been taken out of the Bible and found in the archives of the Vatican. I have them. I have those words, and the job G has not been changed. The Adi grant has not been changed. It's fully intact. Even though without a perfect living master, still it will not be understood. And people think that the book is the master, which is totally wrong. But because that's why a perfect living master is needed in this world to give us the fresh message of God. So I will play our sister Tina. Thank you, Master, for the seva and the love.
Dearest Holy Family, my brothers and sisters on this path of self-realization, with the blessings of the Holy Sangat and our beloved Father, the Seva continues. I will start the Seva with the continuation of recitation of stanza 2 and 3. The recitation will be done in Gurbani first and then followed by the translation in English. Before I start this, I would like to read a few words from Sant Kirpal Singh Ji's book Japji about the religion, objective and subjective. As it is generally understood today, has been grossly misconceived. Prayers consisting of set phrases, forced ceremonials, time-consuming rituals, adherence to outward symbols at the sacrifice of their inner spiritual meanings and superiority of one creed over another. These and similar other absurdities have usurped the title of religion. One religion is waging war against the other. Brothers are fighting with the brothers on the plea of differences of opinion regarding the means to salvation. Bloodshed, falsehood, hatred, intolerance, and bigotry have often been preached in the name of religion, while the vital offices of religion, the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man, are set at naught. Reason has been banished altogether, reducing religion to a mere profession of creeds and dogmas. Words have replaced deeds. Religion no longer seems to be concerned with such ennobling issues as the knowledge of one's self and union with the divine origin. The seeking of God is the observance of outward means and the repetition of verbal formula, the haunting of pilgrimages and synagogues amidst unfeeling hearts reveal the depths to which religion has sunk. Many God-gifted men in the past have faced with similar situations, revolted against the fossilized religions and the ritualistic codes of priestcraft. Is it not all this deplorable? It is sad spectacle indeed. Fortunately, all this is due to human ignorance of true religion, which knows no artificiality or fabrication. The slavery of the priestcraft is not the aim of religion. Its aim is not to bind, but to set man free from its slavery. The Master prescribes a religion which teaches the equality of man. Nature does not distinguish between a Hindu, a Mohammedan, a Christian. All belong to the one humanity on earth. Guru Nanak exhorts us to accept this, the brotherhood of man, as the grandest religion. We should consider all men are equals, irrespective of color or creed. Just as in class, boys of all sects and all denominations sit together, play together, love each other, and learn the same lessons from one and the same teacher, just so the whole world should be as one class. No distinction of caste or color should be observed. The fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man are the true essence of religion. All humanity are alike, no matter if they pose under the garb of Sikhs, Hindus, Mohammedans, Jews, Christians, Buddhists, or the materialists. All living beings are at thy feet, O Lord. Thou carest for them all. Whatever pleaseth thee is good. Nanak beseecheth thee in this wise. Bilawal Mahalla Pehla. The Master loves nature and conforms to all the laws of nature. He knows no artificiality or fabrication. Nature is beautiful except when tormented by man. He therefore leaves nature to take care of the outer man and to preserve it as best it may. The majority of the sages, both in the East and West, Christ, Buddha, Ramakrishna, and others, did not interfere in the least with the bodily form nature gave them. There is no fact, no higher religion than this. It is one aspect of religion, the objective side. But these exists also the other aspect, which may be termed the subjective, the inner side of it, of which we have no knowledge of at all. In this respect, the Master teaches us to develop the subjective life by the natural means, which consists in living in divinity and realizing the presence of God in our souls. This is the true nature of religion. It is not merely an oral profession, but a highly practical and living essence. A story that goes about Guru Nanak that I'm sharing with you before I start the stanzas. It was a dark, moonless night. The clouds were heavy with rain because it was the monsoon season. Suddenly, thunder sounded and lightning flashed as a few raindrops started to fall. The village was asleep. Only Nanak was awake, and the echo of his song filled the air. Nanak's mother was worried because the night was more than half over and the lamp in his room was still burning. She could hear the voice as he sang. She could restrain herself no longer and knocked at his door. "Go to sleep now, my son. Soon it will be dawn." Nanak became silent. From the darkness sounded the call of sparrowhawk. Piu, 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 it called. "Listen, Mother, Nanak called out, the sparrow hawk is calling to his beloved. How can I be silent? Because I am competing with him. I will call my beloved as long as he calls his, even longer, because his beloved is nearby, perhaps in the next tree. My beloved is so far away, I will have to sing for lives upon lives before my voice reaches him. Nanak resumed his song. Nanak attained God by singing to him. Nanak's quest is very unusual. His path was decorated with songs. The first thing to be realized is that Nanak practiced no austerities or meditation or yoga. He only sang, and singing he arrived. He sang with all his heart and soul, so much so that his singing became meditation. His singing became his purification and his yoga. Whenever a person performs any act with all his heart and soul, that act becomes the path. Endless meditation, if half-hearted, will take you nowhere, whereas just singing a simple song with all your being merged in it, or a dance with the same total absorption, and you will reach God. The question is not what you do, but how much of yourself you involved in the act. Nanak's path to supreme realization, to godliness, is scattered with song and flowers. Whatever he has said was said in verse. His path was full of melody and soft, filled with the flavor of ambrosia. Now, another thing about the Japji. The moonless night described at the beginning was an incident from Nanak's life when he was about 16 or 17 years of age. When the Japji was conceived, Nanak was 30 years, 6 months, and 15 days old. The first incident refers to the days when he was still a seeker in quest of the beloved. The call to the beloved, the refrain, Piyu, 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 was still the sparrowhawk calling. He had not yet met the beloved. The Japji was his first proclamation after the union with the beloved. The sparrowhawk had found his beloved. The call of Piyu, Piyu was now over. The Japji was the very first words uttered by Nanak after self-realization. Therefore, they hold a very special place in the sayings of Nanak. They are the latest news brought back from the kingdom of heaven. The incident preceding the birth of the Japji needs to be understood also. Nanak sat on the bank of the river in total darkness with his friend and follower, Mardana. Suddenly, without saying a word, he removed his clothes and walked into the river. Mardana called after him, "Where are you going? The night is so dark and cold." Nanak went further and further. He plunged into the depths of the river. Mardana waited, thinking he would be out soon, but Nanak did not return. Mardana waited for 5 minutes. When 10 minutes had passed, he became anxious. Where could he be? There was no sign of him. Mardana began to run along the shore, calling to him, "Where are you? Answer me. Where are you?" He felt he heard a voice saying, "Be patient, be patient." But there was no sign of Nanak. Mardana ran back to the village and woke everyone up. It was the middle of the night, but the crowd collected at the riverside because everyone in the village loved Nanak. They all had some sense, a glimpse of what Nanak was going to be. They had felt the fragrance of his presence, just as the bud gives off its fragrance before the flower has opened. All the village wept. They ran back and forth and whole length of the river bank, but to no avail. 3 days passed, By now, it was certain that Nanak had drowned. The people imagined that his body must have been carried away by the swift current and perhaps eaten by wild animals. The village was drowned in sorrow, though everyone thought him dead. On the third night, Nanak appeared from the river. The first words he spoke became the Japji. So goes the story. And now, the stanza number 2. Hukmi hove aakar, hukum na kahiya jai. Hukmi hove jiya, hukmi mile vadiyai. Hukmi uttam neech, hukme likh dukh sukh paiye. Ikna hukmi baksis, eke hukmi sada vadiyaiye. Hukme andar sabko, bahar hukme na koi. Nanak hukme je bujhe, te hame kahe na koi. All things are a manifestation of his will, but his will is beyond description. By his will is matter quickened into life. By his will is greatness obtained. By his will, some are born high and others low. By his will are men's joys and sorrows ordained. By his will, the pious obtain salvation. By his will, the impious wander in endless transmigration. All exist under his will, and nothing stands outside. One attuned with his will, O Nanak, is wholly freed from ego. Nanak, as a teacher, anticipates the confusion that might arise in the minds of some seekers by the study of various scriptures. These do not always say the same thing about God's will, but there is no need for doubt and skepticism, for what they really describe is not God's will, which in itself is indescribable, but its various workings and manifestations. God's will pervades and directs his creation, but it is something more, something that itself and above and beyond creation. Stanza number 3. गावे को ताण होवे किसे ताण, गावे को दात जानिए निशान, गावे को गुण वडियाई चार, गावे को विद्या विकुम विचार, गावे को साज करे तन खो, गावे को जिया ले फिर दो, गावे को जापे दिसे दूर, गावे को वेखे हादरा हदूर, कथना कथी न आवे तोट, कथ कथ कथी कोटि कोट कोट, देदा रहे देदा दे लदे थक पाही, जुगा जुगांतर खाही काहे, हुक्मी हुक्म चलाई राह, नानक विकसे बेपरवाह. Some sing of his greatness, but only according to the power bestowed upon them. Some sing of his bounties, taking them as his signs. Some sing of him as incomprehensible. Some sing of him as transmitting dust into life and life into dust again, creator and destroyer, the giver of life and its withdrawer. Some sing of him as at once the nearest and the most remote. There is no end to his description. Countless have tried to describe him, but he still stands beyond all description. His recipients may tire, but his bounty is untiring. Ages upon ages man has fed upon it. His will directs the world. And yet, O Nanak, he dwells beyond concern or care. God's will is indescribable, and the question arises, how may we become one with it? Guru Nanak replies that the best way we can do is to sit in meditation at the early hour of dawn and commune with his holy word. Our actions and our efforts count, no doubt. It is through them that we achieve human birth. But, says Nanak, we cannot earn salvation, for it must come as the gift of his grace. Guru Nanak in the Japji turns time and again to this paradox that salvation is only possible through his grace, yet we need effort to achieve this salvation. Thank you, Holy Family. I know I have made many mistakes. Please forgive me my mistakes and my pronunciation of the Holy Bani. I will continue this seva next week with stanzas 4 and 5. Thank you, Master. Thank you, my holy family, my dearest brother and sisters, for all the blessings. Thank you.
Sister Tina, that was amazing. We loved it. So beautiful. Thank you for your seva. I love the Japji, and I listen to. Should I show you what I listen to a lot? I'll show you this song from the Japji, just so you will see. One is called Sohela Pela, and the other one is also, I think, the stanza number 1. I will show you for 1 second, and then we can meditate for 5 minutes and play Master.
एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरपौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत आजुनी सभं गुरुप्रसाद जप
Kali Yuga, in which we are going through, the pull of the sound current would be the best method. Therefore, they have recommended that if you want to unite yourself to your totality, if you want to have your supreme yoga, yoga means union with your true self, then follow the union, put your attention on the sound. Put your surat means attention, on the Shabd. Shabd means the sound. Surt, Shabd, Yoga. That's how they describe it. They describe that the yoga where the attention can be placed on the sound and can pull you to your union, to your totality, is the best for these days, for this age. I agree with these remarks that it is true. At this time, the distractions being so many, if you try to break each distraction and try to pull yourself together with your own effort, it's a very long, difficult process. If you can be pulled by a sound that already exists inside you and is pulling, that's a better way. There's one catch. The catch is that we can repeat words when we like, we can try experimentation with meditation when we like, but we can't hear the sound till we are there. So therefore, there has to be a combination of the two things. At least we have to use our effort. We have to use other means to reach the point where we can hear the sound. If we can reach that point, forget everything. We need nothing else except hearing the sound. So that is why these perfect living masters have simplified, modified and simplified all yoga. And they said, you want the highest yoga and want to go to the highest place that's possible in meditation. Follow the Surt Shabd Yoga. Put your attention on the sound. And before you can do that, follow a simple method of gathering your attention as much as you can behind the eyes at the point where the sound can be heard. They simplified it. How do you gather your attention? By stopping the mind from running out. When you try to meditate, you will notice that the mind runs everywhere. The mind doesn't stay here. The mind thinks of one thing after another. You try to use any kind of meditation, the mind is running away. So they say that put the mind to work. Put the mind to repeat words which have no connotation outside of itself. Put the mind to repeat strange language mantras. If you don't know Sanskrit, use Sanskrit mantras. If you don't know German, use German mantras. If you don't know a language, use that language. And if you know a language, think of the soul inside. Think of something inside. Use those words. Think of the light inside. Use those words. And so that when you repeat those words, you don't think of something outside, which is what you're trying to stop. Therefore, the repetition of a mantra, a repetition of words that can lead you to stop thinking of outside things, but only to think of the repetition which you're making. That would be a good step. And that's the first good step to come and concentrate your attention behind the eyes to the point where the sound can be heard. Once the sound can be heard, forget all mantras. Throw the beads away. Just use the sound and get latched onto the sound, because the sound will then pull you. Why will the sound pull you? Because the sound is not originating outside. It's coming from inside. It has no connection with any sound outside. When you start hearing that sound inside, it is so beautiful, melodious. It's a melodious kind of sound. It's like sound of various kinds. Like music is being played and there is music behind the music. You can hear one instrument nearby, one behind it. The bells are ringing and little bells are ringing in front, and the big bells is giving its peals behind it, and behind it another kind of a long sound is going on. And all you can see, the one is more distant than the other. It has no connection with these ears. Because while you're listening to the sound, if you drop a pin, you can hear the pin drop and still hear the sound. There's no interference at all. It does not interfere with your outside hearing at all. It has nothing to do with outside sound. Some people have asked me, would it be useful if we create good music, good meditational music outside to help us? And I said, no. Good. No matter how meditational the music might be outside, still drawing you outside. It will not let you have the inner sound. When the inner sound comes, you have to withdraw from all outside influences inside. People even say, close your eyes, close your ears, wrap up your head, go into a cave if necessary. And we don't have caves here, but we can have a small dark room and make it a cave. People in the old days used to go into caves. An American disciple of great master, Dr. Julian Johnson, When he went to meditate, he saw the Indian yogis meditating in the cave. He said, I want to meditate in a cave. He asked Great Master, can I have a cave? He said, well, the best cave is already on your head. You want another one? He says, no, but these yogis are doing it. Okay, go and dig in the riverbed. So he went and dug a cave on the bluff of the river Byas. And there he made a nice one and he put a little door in front to just block it. And he would meditate for a long time in that. And later on, when he became a friend of mine, he was much older, we used to walk together to the cave. Even after he died, I still meditated in his cave. It came to be known as Johnson's cave. So the cave was only to shut off outside light, outside experiences, outside sounds, so that we can very clearly hear the inside sound. And when one has done so much meditation in one place, the vibrational effect of that meditator still stays there. So we could enter the cave and could hear the sound very loudly. So it was very easy to meditate in that cave. But then people began to worship the cave. They came, oh, this cave, God lives in this cave. So then they had to close down the cave and shut it down. That people start looking at outside things just because they were of help to somebody, and they start worshipping it, so they shut it down. No cave, now we have to sit in this cave on our head. But the point is that if you are able to withdraw your attention by the process of repetition of mantra called Simran, if you can use enough Simran, Simran is merely a device to prevent the mind from thinking of anything else. By making the mind repeat those words, you're just blocking it from thinking of other things. That's all that's required. If you start doing your mantra with your tongue, and you keep on repeating the tongue, and the mind keeps on thinking of other things, that's not Simran at all. In fact, one mystic poet, Kabir says in Hindi, you understand Hindi, Mala to kar mein phire, kar means hand. Mala to kar mein phire, jeeb phire mukh mai, manwa to chahon desh phire, ye to simran nahi. Kabir says, if the beads are moving in your hand, of the rosary, the beads are moving in your hand, and the tongue is repeating the word of God, and your mind is running around all over, this is no prayer at all. This is no meditation at all. Meditation is when you make the mind repeat those words, not your tongue and not your hands have no role in it. The role of good meditation is make the mind repeat those words so it can't think of something else. That's the whole purpose. There's no more purpose. You repeat those words in your head so that the mind cannot run around. It just concentrates on those words. By concentrating on the words, the attention is drawn to where you are concentrating your word. The mind is functioning at the third eye center behind the eyes. Your attention is pulled there and a sound can be heard. It is not a sound planted by somebody. It's a natural sound of consciousness existing in every human being. We all have it. We are endowed with it by the Creator. It's a gift given by the Creator to all of us. There's no special category of people who have it. We all have it. And we have all equal access. Depending upon how distracted we are, how our mind is distracted, we have difficulty in going there. But otherwise, we all have it. So if we are able to practice the repetition of words till we get to that point, and we listen to the sound and are pulled in, we can be pulled in very quickly through the different stages behind the eyes where we are trying to concentrate. And when we reach the center of the head in pulling the attention and are unconscious of what is in front of us, inside the head or outside, we get to see the radiant form of the Master whose physical form told us what to do. That's the real Master. He was always there after initiation. That's exactly what he does. A perfect living Master, when he initiates us, places himself right there, so that he then waits for us. He says, I am waiting at the airport, got the flight tickets in my hand. We'll fly from there. And that's the point of takeoff. Therefore, our journey is very limited. Our journey is to pull our attention from this world, pull our attention from this body, and go behind the eyes up to the point where the Master awaits us. We see the radiant form of the Master. Because our attention is moving slowly, up and down, it looks to us in the beginning like the Master comes and goes. That is, if he recedes, we see from a distance, he comes, he goes. The Master does not move. The Master is right there all the time. Our attention moves. Our attention is not steady enough. It takes a little while to put your attention where the Master can be seen continuously, steadily, in which case you speak to the Master. He speaks just like he spoke in the physical form. And then you have a permanent companionship, permanent friendship forever. All the journey, right up to the highest levels I've been talking of, is in the company of the Master. You are guided by somebody who goes there regularly. You're guided by somebody who's totally familiar with every one of these stages. And therefore, you're not left in darkness to search for yourself. Where am I going? Am I going to hell or heaven? You're going in the hands of somebody who's already been there all the time and very familiar with the route. And therefore, you are in very safe hands. That's the only way to go. I would not recommend, from my own experience, I would not recommend to people just to start flying out in the astral plane wildly, randomly. You can land up in places which you won't like. So therefore, because the astral plane is very vast, it has got sub-astral regions and astral regions. And although I'm describing the beauty of the astral region, the sub-astral regions contain all the hells. All punishment areas on karma are based there also. Extreme punishment, which cannot be given in the physical world, is being given there. In fact, there was a BB in Great Master's time. Her name was Bibi Rakhi. She was our neighbor in the house we had in the Dera in Great Master's time. Her house was next door to us. And she was short. I should tell you a little bit about these BBs. You know what a BB means? A lady. A BB means a lady, and we respect a lady because normally we call a BB who's lady in waiting to the Master, who's trying to help the Master. And there were 3 BBs in Great Master's time. Before these 3 BBs came up, they were very young girls when they came up. There was a lot of scandal about their coming to a Master, living with them, those 3 girls. Some left their husbands and some divorced. So it was a very scandalous situation to start with. Why are they having these girls around there? But anyway, they grew up there and they took care of the Master. But originally, one BB called Bibi Ruko, she had come from Swami Bagh, from the Swamiji's shrine from Agra. And therefore, she came, then she died, and these 3 BBs took over. So far as I am concerned, from my childhood till I grew up to be an adult, I saw these 3 BBs. One was short and small in size, like Boris. And Boris is not a BB, but sometimes he acts like one. We were trying to analyze if he is a female soul or male soul. Anyway, that's a separate issue. There was a short BB, Bibi Rakhi. There was a tall, lean BB, Bibi Rali. And there was a stout BB, Bibi Lajo. Lajwanti, we called her Bibi Lajo. These 3 BBs, as they grew up along with Great Master, all vied with each other to get more seva, to be closer to the Master. Of course, the little one was thrown out by the other 2 very soon. She was too small. And these tall ones, they pushed her out. And she then began to go into the general kitchen. And in the langar was the general kitchen, and began to cook chapatis and sing songs, sing devotional hymns in the big kitchen, public kitchen. So the BB then was given a little hut. It was just next to our house, which we had bought in the Dera. So she was our immediate neighbor, this Bibi Rakhi. The Bibi Rali was pushed out by the stouter one. And she was pushed out into a kitchen of the Great Master. So Great Master's kitchen was slightly in an attached place with a little door in the middle. And the kitchen was there, and he lived in part of the house where the stout one took over. So Bibi Lajo was in control. Bibi Rali would cook the food for Great Master and bring it in a little thali in a plate, and she would bring it in, and this Bibi Laja would be standing at the door. Your territory ends here, now I take it. That kind of thing. And I was saying, what is this show going on between the Bibis? They're all devoted, very devoted souls. Yet this show goes on, and Great Master watches it in great delight, as if he likes this show going on. But the Bibi show was going on, But what happens? The one who was in the house had great experiences and was flying in astral plane very often. And she would talk about the higher regions and so on. She took control of interviews of people with the master, things like that. But the kitchen Bibi went still higher. But the highest was, the Bibi was shunted out, the little one. She made the most progress. Every morning at 3 o'clock when Great Master would come for a walk, he would first go to that Bibi's house, the hut next to our house. Every morning we could see him go there and visit her. So these Bibis thought they had taken control of the Master, and the Master loved this Bibi more and visited her every day, every morning. And we were there awake to have his darshan when he came there. Now this Bibi had the most amazing experiences. This Bibi Rakhi, being in our neighborhood, once started crying, screaming loudly. We could hear her screams. She said something has happened. She got some fit or attack or something. And we opened the door, and the Bibi was screaming and refusing to listen to anybody. And we said, what happened? What happened? She wouldn't answer. So we ran to the Great Master, whose house was nearby. We said, Master, Bibi is crying, screaming. Something has happened. He came and he said, Bibi, what's happened? She says, I have gone into hell. What kind of hell? And then she described how hell, bodies of people are hung upside down in the fire, and torture is being done by torturers there, and all kind of punishments are being inflicted. She gave a very gruesome description of a hell in which he had gone. And he said, who told you to go there? Out of curiosity. I just want to curious to know if there are real hells or not. I didn't know there are real hells. I thought we make a hell of ourselves in this life, in the physical world. But I see there's a hell in the astral plane. I said, that's the lower astral plane, it's the sub-astral. But why did you go to the hell? I said, out of curiosity. Is anybody hurting you? He said, no. Then why are you crying? I'm crying, seeing what is happening to others. I can't stand it. Why don't you come out? I don't know how to come out. Master said, say your 5 words of Simran. She said, I've forgotten them. In hell, they just slipped out. He said, can you hear my voice? Yes, I can hear your voice. Follow my voice and come out. And she stopped screaming, opened her eyes, put her head on his feet. And Great Master said to all of us who were watching this show, that sometimes one strays into these areas. It's never wise to go into this kind of meditational curiosity and go into different areas of the sub-astral plane, because there are some unpleasant experiences there. Although you are initiated by a master, nobody will hurt you. But they can scare you. They can frighten you. And that's why not worthwhile. Always go with a guide. Always go in the company of the master in any of these regions. So just go to the radiant form, and after that always try to see everything with the master and never outside. There was a doctor, a lady doctor named Dr. Shakuntala, who lived in the town of Kapurthala, where the Dr. Ishar Singh used to live, who tied up his dad, you remember, with ropes. In that very town, a doctor lived, Dr. Shakuntala, who very much loved the great master because of his white beard. So he's such a beautiful man. She liked the way he dressed like a king. She said he's a very royal person. But she never believed his philosophy of spirituality. She never believed there are any higher stages. She said these are all made up. These are all psychological suggestions that there are some things there. And there is no scientific evidence at all that there is such a thing. So she never believed it. She would come to the Dera. She would meet the great master and spend time, sometimes have a meal with him, and then would go away. never believed that his teachings are based on any real things happening. They say it's made up. Anybody can make up. These gurus make up many stories. And this white-bearded one has made up nice stories. So one day, this Bibi again got locked up in her house and didn't open the door for 2 or 3 days. We said she might have died, might have passed in. And she hasn't opened the door every day. She used to come out. So we broke open the door and saw the Bibi in a state of meditation. And when he had gone into the room, her foot had stepped on a piece of gourd, you understand? Jaggery, brown sugar. And that was stuck to her heel. And the ants had come and started eating that, and they began to eat the heel. Half of the heel had been eaten up, as if it's a dead body. And when we opened, we saw the state, we said, she's dying, but she was sitting like a meditation state. So we called Great Master at once. Great Master came and saw. He said, oh, he laughed. He said, call Dr. Shakuntala. Call the skeptic doctors to come and see her now. So the doctor was called, car went and brought the Dr. Shakuntala. And Great Master said, Doctor, see what has happened to this lady. He says, oh, this is a deep coma. She is in a state of very deep coma. This is a state of unconsciousness from which it's very difficult to revive a person. He said, but doctor, what happens to the reflexes in deep coma? He says, you lose reflexes also. You test out if she has lost her reflexes. So he took out a little hammer and she began to raise. He said, reflexes seem to be all right. Look at the vital signs. Blood pressure is all right. Breathing is all right. Pulse is all right. Doctor, have you seen this case that ants are eating her foot? She's totally unconscious and all systems are okay. She says, I have never seen like this. She has to be moved to a bigger hospital. Please call ambulance and take her immediately. Great Master said, she is enjoying herself in the Brahmand. She is traveling in the causal region right now. And she is just liking it very much. Doctor said, please, Master, there is no time for jokes. The woman is in very serious condition. We don't know if we'll be able to revive her. She needs to be moved to the major hospital immediately. And you are cracking jokes at this time? This is no time for that. Great Master said, but I can ask her to describe what she's seeing. She says, how? She's unconscious. She's not responding to anything. He said, Bibi, get up. She says, yes, Master. What were you seeing? I was flying, and she described the whole journey. That's the day that Dr. Shakuntala also became a disciple of Great Master, because he couldn't believe such a thing could have happened. So there are so many stories I could tell you of the good old days in the Dera with these Bibis and the other Mastanas. I got a message from Pakistan on email from a Baluchi Mastana. And he went to Balochistan and initiated people there. He was Great Master disciple. We were both there. I sent him an email last night. I said, I remember that Mastana. Mastana means intoxicated one. There were 3 or 4 intoxicated people in the Dera. They were always in a state of intoxication. And this one from Balochistan, a very tall guy, and he and I, we used to do seva when the satsang was being built there, that big place for discourses was being built in the Dera. At that time, I used to carry 1 brick on my head, so small. And this Mastana carried a big basket of bricks. And we used to talk on the way about how we have to relearn our languages. Then we go in the astral plane. He was the first one to mention to me, can you imagine that we can learn any language in the astral plane? We don't have to rely on the language we have been taught in the physical plane, and how we can relearn any language of the world. So we used to talk of those things while we were walking for the seva. So I sent a reply to him on this. So the people sitting all over the world seeking, and a very large number of people ready, not knowing what the thing is, not knowing where true spirituality rises. They are following yogas, they are following different systems, they are following different spiritual groups. Most of them are occurring now in this country. It's an amazing thing. The Great Master's prediction in 1937 was that in the course of time, the axis of spirituality will shift to the West. and go in a big way North America, localized right in this country. And therefore I see it happening. People sometimes think that only people who have found the perfect living master are on the real track. No, all the others are ready, getting ready too. They just haven't found it. Whatever they found, they think is the real one. They found the right place. It's only when they make a practice and go up to a point and they find they cannot go any further, they move forward to another master, another teacher, and they keep on moving till they find the ultimate. This country is ready. I see seekers everywhere I go. And therefore, I congratulate all of you. Not only you come to the right place where we can talk about the true reality beyond our mind. There are very, very few places, very few teachers, very few mystics who are today able to even talk about stages beyond the mind. They call the universal mind as the universal soul. They call that the final. They don't take you above the mental regions. All their description of the higher regions are in time and space. They are only confined. Many of them think the astral plane is the satsang, is the final plane. So to be able to know there is more and to be able to be found by a perfect living master is the greatest good fortune one can have. I give you great master's blessing to all of you for coming here. And it's a delight, pleasure for me to be of any service to you because I am a servant to great master. I'm doing his bidding and therefore it's an honor to serve you. Because I am his servant, I am your servant. And that's in what capacity I'm sitting here. You don't have to think of me in any other capacity. That's all. So it was a very good visit for me. I want to thank Boris and Ela for making beautiful arrangements for all of us. I also want to thank all the others who helped them in organizing things here, in organizing the lunch here, and taking very good care of me personally. And I thank all of you very much. Thank you. The official program which they had designed has ended now. And there will be interviews, and then there will be some question and answers still left over. In the question and answers, final session of question and answers, and then they have prashad with great master's blessings attached to that. Okay, thank you very much. Those who are initiated will use their mantra given by the masters. Those who are not initiated can use a temporary mantra created by themselves, expressing love for somebody. Close your eyes. Imagine this body of yours is your house in which you live. It has several floors. The lowest floor is right where you're sitting down at the bottom. Then as the floors rise, you are on the 6th floor behind the eyes. And that's the place where you will always meditate. That is your meditation chamber. So go and imagine you are sitting in the middle of this meditation chamber. And you can examine that the house, this body-like house around you on the 6th floor, that you are sitting on top of your throat, you're sitting on top of your body, and the ears are around you, and the eyes are in front of you, your hair is on top of you, and you are sitting relaxed, totally relaxed, no tension. The body has nothing to do with it. There's no pressure on the body or the head or the eyes. You are using your imagination to sit behind the eyes in the center of the head. And whatever comes in front, look at it, but don't follow it. If any sounds come, listen to the sounds attentively, but don't move towards them. If a sound comes from the top, listen while you're sitting relaxed in the center. Sound comes from the right, listen from the center. Sound comes from the left, stay in the center and listen to it. If two sounds come, pick up the one coming from the right or above and drop the other. And if a sound seems to be around you, pick up that and listen to it attentively. Put all your attention on the sound when the sound comes. Meanwhile, keep on repeating the words. If the sound disappears, go back to repetition. And when the sound comes, drop the repetition, listen to the sound.